It's very difficult to know how to feel about the game coming out. We are all worried and excited, and every time someone plays it, and they have a positive reaction, we are like, awesome, great. But I still do not know if that means everyone else will like it. It's been 3.5 years since a group of 18 DePaul University students all sat down together to create something that little bit different to enter into the Independent Games Festival. The DePaul Game Experience, RD for short, is an annual extracurricular program that aims to put both the university and its students on the video game industry map. Students apply to be part of the program, and the professors then choose around 15 to 20 of those applicants to be part of the team. Those students, who they believe have the potential to think outside the box and create something that will wow at the EF. The first did in 2009 resulted in the EF-nominated Devil's Tuning Fork, so the bar was set for the following year. In 2010, around 50 students were interviewed, and these were whittled down to 18. These 18 course buddies, all strangers to each other, acquaintances at best, were then thrown into a room together and told to come up with something good. I was only friends with one or two of the people there, and it was not like best friends or anything like that. Phil Tibitowski at Stinks tells me. Tibitowski was one of the original 18, and is now the CEO and community manager of Young Houses, the studio that has since sprung forth from that initial clatter. Of course, that coming together of young minds resulted in the control mongering, self-appointed stalking wonder that was freeware release Octodad. Fast forward more than 3 years, and Young Horses is now on the cusp of the full commercial Octodad release. A lot of us just did not know each other, so it was very surprising that it came out as well as it did, and that we got along as well as we did. As Tibitowski, we pretty much all had the same sort of weird sense of humor that resulted in what Octodad was. Unsurprisingly, it takes a good few weeks for 18 bright minds to unload all of their best video game concepts. One-page ideas were pitched over and over again, with some pushing the boundaries of weird more than others. Eventually, after weeks of getting in all of their chests, the 18 had pulled very ridiculous, barrel-scraping, messed up folly from their systems. It was time to get down to real business. We had to dig a little bit further to find something more interesting, remembers Tibitowski. Eventually we came up with the idea of an octopus inside of an android's head, driving him sort of like a Man in Black, and using levers to make him walk and micromanage its movements. This initial concept was heavily inspired by being on Markovich, but as the base idea evolved, it began to take on a far much more inspired by accidentally hilarious 1998 DreamWorks game Jurassic Park, Trespasser, as recently cited by Surgeon Simulator 2013 Dev Bots Studios. Trespassers, evolutionary, micromanaging controls, were a bit of a disaster, yet they still ended up inspiring some very silly control schemes. In that game it was meant to be this serious school feature, but it ended up being this glitchy, disastrous, but hilarious mess, knows Tibitowski. It was really funny, and I think that's why we realized it could be a comedy game, not only because of the concept of the octopus being in a suit and stuff, but because of how funny it is to watch that stuff go wrong. And so the perfect combination of stupid controls and stupid storyline converged to create the perfect, stupid game, an octopus in a suit, with a wife and kids, who somehow do not know has an octopus, despite his flailing tentacles. The stage was set, It began with prototyping how exactly this concept would come to fruition. Was he going to just wander around? Or can he pick things up? Or is he going to walk on walls with his suction cups? Tibitowski tells me. What was this game really about mechanically? Since we have come up with the idea before the mechanics. Since the team was split on which mechanics worked the best with the concept, the group decided to go for broke and prototype everything at the same time. The first demo saw a string of purple spheres linked together on a rope, and you were able to walk around and grab things with your tentacles. You could try to wrap around things and put them in a kitchen sink, or take them out. Super simple stuff. The young hearts recalls. Then the walking came along, and we were not sure if it was going to be like, he leans in a direction and you have to balance him, or if you drag along his legs or something. After much experimenting, the team opted for a sort of marionette-like controls, much like those you can see in the current Octodad build. When we could not decide whether we wanted to do just an arms things or a legs thing, we decided to put them together and make it more of a singular experience instead of having maybe separate levels where you do either one or the other. Tibitowski adds, 5 months of messing around with this ridiculous concept, and Octodad was born. Many members of the team were keen to inject more silly into the game, but the deadline was looming, and submissions were due. Octodad was entered into the student portion of the competition, and the 18 had finished its first and last project together. Remember that Octodad was an optional, extracurricular activity for this group of young hopefuls, and while also studying hard for the rest of their university courses, some of the team were also working on their own games. John Murphy and Devon Scott Tonkin, 2 of the 18, just happened to catch my attention mid-Octodad development with Acid Couch, a messy wonder created in 2 weeks as part of an Indie City Games Jam. When Octodad was completed and entered into the IF, most of the team was done. They each had a great addition to their resumes, and if Octodad was nominated for the IF, that debut even better for their future prospects. But for others, something about the Octodad project refused to cease bouncing around in their heads. There was more that needed to be done with this concept, but they needed proof that anyone else felt the same way, having already had a game featured on IndieGames.com. Murphy decided to take another shot in my direction, the office where the Young Houses team originally worked out of. I am writing because I figured you might want to check out the game that I and a group of students at DePaul University just submitted to the student if, said Murphy's email. It's called Octodad and is about an octopus struggling to keep his human family from realizing what he is while doing everything that a dad does. It's not nearly as insane as Acid Couch, but I think it's pretty out there and excellent. It did not take me long to realize I had something rather special in my inbox that day. I played the game and posted it up on the Indie Games blog within a couple of hours, and I immediately fired it over to Rock Paper Shotgun's Quentin Smith, who responded back just an hour later. Posted so fast. That initial hit of press from Indie Games under PS was just the beginning, as in the hours that followed, the game was featured on Destructoid, Joystick, Kotaku and more. The team was blown away, and those who thought it should be taken further were now adamant that the story of Octodad needed to be expanded. Then the IF nomination happened, and Let's Play videos became regular. Fascinating viewing for Tibitowski, Murphy et al. And cemented the decision to take Octodad further. There was this Let's Play video. I cannot remember her name, but she was just laughing the entire time she was playing. Muses Tipitowski. That's the kind of reaction we want. That's the sort of thing I make games for. After seeing reactions from the press and other developers at the IF Pavilion at GD 2011, 8 of the original 18 students retreated to the basement of a hostel. And put it simply, we need to make a real version of this. We wanted to make a real game mind farm company and sell it so we could keep making weird games. Tipitowski says. Before then, a lot of us wanted to work for bigger studios, like a lot of kids do, when they grow up playing games.